As I Lay Dying has returned and released their 7th studio album titled Shaped by Fire. Now, I can't talk about this album without mentioning the past because they kind of go hand in hand, so I'm going to make it brief as I possibly can without going into too many details. So, just quickly, As I Lay Dying is an American heavy metal band from San Diego, California, founded in 2000. Like I said, they have 7 studio albums, and the band consists of members Tim Lambesis, who does the screams, Jordan Mancino, the drummer, Phil Segrosso, rhythm guitar, Nick Hippa, lead guitar, and Josh Gilbert on bass and the singer. So for years, As I Lay Dying paved their way through the metalcore scene. They're one of the most well-respected bands in it. They're basically Metal Blade Records' baby. That label would do anything for this band, and everything was on the up and up. It didn't seem like anything could stop this band. They had all the momentum going their way. And out of nowhere, that momentum came to a halt, because in 2013, vocalist Tim Lambesis would be arrested because he would try to hire a hitman to kill his wife. Well, that hitman turned out to be an undercover cop. In 2014, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The biggest excuse so far is that he was on steroids and that was messing with his head, but, During this time, the remaining band members were in shock. All of a sudden, their career that was doing great has been sidelined. Obviously, they want to continue making music, so they recruited Shane Blay, who is the guitar player and sometimes vocalist of Oh Sleeper. They would then go on to form a band called Woven War. Woven War would release 2 albums, one in 2014 and one in October of 2016, and at the beginning of 2017, Woven War went silent. And it just so happens that Tim was released from prison just a month before the band went quiet. So behind the scenes, Tim decided to contact his bandmates and meet them in public, talk to them face to face, apologize, all that stuff. Reconciliation. And it worked. In 2018, the band would return and release their first single called My Own Grave. And of course, fans loved it. But since then, Tim has made a really, really solid effort to make it known that he is trying to become a better person. He made a mistake. He understands that. And he's just trying to do the right thing. So his band members forgave him. Other bands have forgiven him. Fans have forgiven him. And recently, on September 20th, they released that 7th album called Shaped by Fire. And now it's time to talk about it. So the first track is called Burn to Emerge, and that's just an intro that leads right into the first real song, which is called Blinded. I think they could have just been one song. I don't think they really need to be 2 separate tracks. Burn to Emerge goes by pretty quickly. I mean, it's less than a minute long. But Blinded sets the tone early for this album, brings the energy and everything you could really ask for. Pretty good intro. Shaped by Fire, the title track. This song has really good vocals. I mean, they all have great vocals, but this one in particular stood out to me a little bit more because Josh and Tim complement each other really, really well. So, Tim does his screams, and then Josh just comes in with his clean singing. And he just sounds so good. Josh has such a good voice. And like I said, they complement each other so well. Because sometimes, a lot of bands, especially in the metalcore scene, you scream the verses and you sing the choruses. But a lot of times, it's the same person doing both. So in bands where you have 2 different people doing that, one screaming and the other singing, it can sound a bit off because, like I said, it's 2 different people. They have 2 different voices. A good example, in my opinion, is the Amity Affliction. I think it sounds way off with that band. I think if they just stuck to straight screaming or straight singing, they'd be better off. Their voices conflict too much, in my opinion, like I said. Not bashing the band. Doesn't work for me. But As I Lay Dying with Tim and Josh, it works. Another song to mention is Undertow, and this song has a guitar solo that is very fully satisfying. And by fully satisfying, I just mean that it's not too short. Because some of the solos, not all of them, but some of the guitar solos are a little too short, in my opinion. They kind of felt like cliffhangers, or they were just teasing you. I just felt like some of them could have been a little bit longer, because it's like, you hear it start, and it's like, oh yeah, here we go, and it's over. This album's full of great guitar playing and drumming. Jordan, the drummer, he has beard power. If you have not seen that man's facial hair, you gotta see it. You have to admire it. You need posters of it. You plaster his face on your walls and strive to be that. I mean, that's where he gets his power from. If he didn't have the beard, I mean, my fingers were bleeding after I listened to this album. And I was just sitting there. Another song that has to be mentioned is Gatekeeper. If they play this song live, which I feel like they will, people are gonna go nuts. This song's pure energy. Some people say it sounds like a heavier version of Slayer, which maybe at times it does. I think the biggest part where people are getting like a thrash sound is during the guitar solo, because the guitar kind of has that thrashy tone sound to it. It's also my favorite solo on the album, and the way it leads right into that next part, whoo-wee, really, really good stuff. And then My Own Grave, which I mentioned was the first song back. I just want to mention some of the lyrics because this is a theme throughout the whole album of Tim trying to make it known that he messed up. He's trying to rebuild himself, redeem himself. So that's pretty much all the lyrical content. But in this song, the lies, the weight, it's clear I lost my way. I thought I was an architect, but I was just moving dirt, stacking mud over malice, covered up, forming nothing but a pile of hurt. I hadn't been building, the time was spent digging, boring the barriers that kept others away. The deeper the walls, the less anyone could hear me fall. So now I know there was no one else to blame, buried alive inside of my own grave. Beneath my lies, delusional enough to think I had designed something great, like a giant headstone inscribed to describe my shameful fate. Beneath my pride crushing me, beneath my lies collapsing. I mean, it's just a lot of this. Finally forced to face what I had become. So like I said, that is what you can expect from the lyrics on this album. A lot of self-reflection, I guess. And I know I used the word redemption just a second ago, but this is pretty much the album. Like, this is Tim's shot at redemption. Again, he knows what he did wrong. He's not making excuses. He's not blaming anyone else but himself. Like I said, he's trying to be a better person. I think he's working with organizations to help people that have suffered from abuse and stuff like that. And he's not really asking people to trust him again. I think he just wants people to realize that he's trying to improve, that he's trying. He's not just saying it, but he's actually going for it. And some people seem to be disappointed that this album sounds like an As I Lay Dying album, which is weird to me. Like, were you really expecting experimentation? It's their first album in 7 years. Why would they come back to experiment? It doesn't make sense from a band perspective or a business perspective. The whole point of this is that when the Tim situation went down, the fan base got kind of split. A lot of fans left. So this album is the band sticking to their roots, sticking to what they know, sticking to their guns, and it's to keep fans around. It's to bring old fans back, and it's to bring new fans in. It just would not make sense to come back after all these years and experiment and make some weird album. They stuck with what they know, and they pulled it off. They're here to make a statement that they're back. They're just like, hey, remember when we were one of the most respected bands in metalcore? Yeah, well, we still got it. The best way I could describe this album is energy. It's just pure energy, and that's not new to this band. That's what they do, basically. Like, if you need something that hits, you listen to this band. If you need workout music, you listen to this band. They haven't skipped a beat, really, and this is a really, really great album. Is As I Lay Dying welcome back with open arms? In my eyes, yes. So I'm going to give this album a 9 out of 10. You know, ever since Tim was released from prison, I've watched videos of him talking about the things that he's doing and the improvements that he's trying to make, and I truly believe him when he says he's trying to be a better person. You know, believing him or forgiving him doesn't mean you're excusing what he did. We all know what he did is bad. I just think there's a lot of hypocrisy that people have shut this band off. They won't talk about him, none of that. It's like they'll listen to Varg's band, Burzum. They'll listen to that. The guy that actually killed someone, that's fine. But a guy fails at hiring a hitman. Nope, that's it. It's over. Or they'll support presidents that do bombings that kill a ton of innocent people. That's fine. But a guy fails to attempt to hire a hitman, crossing the line. No way, Jose. People are weird. Anyway, I'm going to leave some links down below if you would like to listen to this album. I highly recommend it. And those are my thoughts on Shaped by Fire by As I Lay Dying.